Good afternoon. I'd like to welcome everyone that's here with me today to share poetry. And I'd like to welcome everyone that is viewing live at home or listening in your car or in your classrooms or in your places of business. This is our third DPS Poetry Month open mic event, and we have some great poets and readings to share with you today.
Today, we will begin with Mr. Ezekiel Leek from Hillside New Tech High School, who will start us off with an original poem, Dis Natural.
Dear America, you hid your evils when I was young, when my toys were toys and not guns, when I was running around in sheets as a cape for fun, when you told me I was cute, not for me, but for you. But now I can turn and get shot down. I turn around and my neighbors look at me funny now. I look at the TV screen and see my brothers in chains and I wonder how. You were never blind, but ignorant to my pigment presented. I obey your laws while you kill us. You fill us with lies and call them responsibilities, yet leave us responseless. We pay your taxes. You tell us to vote to fill us with hope. I find it funny how you dragged our women by their heads, but now we aren't natural. You force us to put on wigs and call it naturalization. But then to our fold, you put us on hold and say we cannot be citizens of this nation. I turn on the news and look at maskless faces. I know you lack empathy. You love our symphonies, but when I raise a fist to battle the government for equality, you fail to come with me. Somebody tell me how I'm supposed to feel when I'm sitting here knowing this ain't real. Why in the world would I give my heart to you just to watch you throw it in the trash? My trust for you has fallen. You continue to diss my natural, and I refuse to waste my time. It's time I take ownership of me. Sincerely mine.
Thank you, Ezekiel. The next person that will share with us today is Mrs. Melissa Perez. She is the Durham Public Schools K-12 Cultural and Linguistic Development Specialist, and she is going to share a poem by Victor Hugo in the original French, but also share it in Spanish and English as well. Mrs. Perez?
Demain de l'aube par Victor Hugo. Demain de l'aube, à l'heure où blanchit la campagne, je partirai. Vois-tu, je sais que tu m'attends. J'irai par la forêt, j'irai pour la montagne. Je ne suis demeuré loin de toi plus longtemps. Je marcherai les yeux fixés sur mes pensées, sans rien voir au dehors, sans entendre aucun bruit. Seul, inconnu. Le dos courbé, les mains croisées, triste. Et le jour pour moi sera comme la nuit. Je ne regarderai ni l'heure du soir qui tombe, ni les voiles au loin descendant vers la fleur. Et quand j'arriverai, je mettrai sur ta tombe un bouquet d'ouvert et de bruyère en fleurs. Mañana al alba por Victor Hugo. Mañana al alba, al tiempo que en los campos aclara, partiré. Ya lo ves, yo sé que tú me esperas. Caminaré los bosques, las montañas severas. Ya no resisto el tiempo que de ti me separa. Andaré pensativo puesto en ti la mirada, sin oír lo que llama, sin ver lo que fulgura, solo, oscuro, encorvado, con las manos cruzadas, triste, y para mí el día será la noche oscura. No miraré ni el oro que la tarde derrumba, ni las velas que al puerto van con lejano amor. Y cuando haya llegado pondré sobre tu tumba ramos verdes de acebo y brezos en flor. Tomorrow at Dawn by Victor Hugo. Tomorrow at dawn, in the hour when the countryside becomes white, I will leave. You see, I know that you're waiting for me. I will go by the forest, I will go by the mountain. I cannot stay far from you any longer. I will walk, eyes fixed on my thoughts, without seeing anything outside or hearing any noise, alone, unknown, the back curved, the hands crossed, sorrowful, and the day for me will be like the night. I will not look at the gold of the evening which falls, nor the faraway sails descending towards our fleur. And when I arrive, I will put on your tomb a green bouquet of holly and flowering heather.
Thank you, Mrs. Perez. Our next reader is going to be Miss Yanni Newkirk McCoy. She is a teacher at Southern School of Energy and Sustainability, and she is going to introduce and share a poem that was written by one of her students. Miss Newkirk McCoy.
Thank you. This is Her Special One by Ryan LaRue. Her room is somewhere safe and open, a place where she can create her emotions as they rise like the morning sun, longing for a beautiful day to begin. The vivid scent of lemon still lingers in the air as the leaves from our lemon begin falling into my room. As she looks around my bright room, the scent of pancakes on your birthday makes it feel different. But how much different? Excitement, thrill, happiness, all these emotions as she opens her phone. The wishes of a good life and love makes me feel cared for. But what if someone else isn't feeling the same? The trace of acrylic in her room fills her head with excitement. Everything around her seems beautiful, but an empty piece feels missing, as though she had a calling to an unknown source. Her phone dinged with a post. The post lit up her face as she found what she should do on her special day: cheer someone up. As she searched, she located one person and messaged them. The loud giggles and squeals from her door causing panic and hesitation. She threw her phone without a second thought. The yelling of "Happy birthday" from her overly excited friends and the bubblegum scented gifts. She smiles with glee. Blitheful as ever, she couldn't contain her happiness. Hugs went around and everyone walked out of the room for more games except her. Checking her phone, she knew she got the right person. A simple hi led everything to where it started. A friendship overseas waiting to bloom, or something more than a friendship, waiting to ignite fires into both girls' lives. The simpleness of checking on a random stranger formed into a beautiful friendship that's been happy ever since the girl's birthday. The best gift she thought she could ever have was her. The feeling of seeing her messages whenever she texted was unlike any before. This feeling was something magical, something euphoric. The feeling showed on her face, smiling from ear to ear. The first video chat, something that marked importance to them both. As she brushes her long, beautiful blonde hair just as bright as the sun, her blue eyes shining and reflected as the Atlantic Ocean. As the aroma of blueberry pancakes filled her side of the screen, she waited patiently for the girl to join. The bright screen shined as if the girl was from the heavens. She finally saw the person who filled her missing piece. Her special someone, with a messy bun and smiling so sweetly to the other girl you could hear her heart skip a beat as she responded with a smile too. The feeling of being loved by someone else and being able to learn more about them thrilled her. After the date, she ran back to her room ecstatic and happy to notice anything. Everything happened so quick, she wanted to process and savor every moment in detail about her. One thing she knew was the girl with red wine hair was her special one.
Thank you, Ms. Newkirk McCoy. Our next reader today is going to be Ms. Chanel Sidbury. She is the Durham Public Schools Executive Director of K-12 Curriculum and Instruction, and she is going to read Hey Black Child by Yesenia Eugene Perkins. Ms. Sidbury, take it away.
Hey, Black child, do you know who you are, who you really are? And do you know you can be what you want to be if you try to be what you can be? Hey, Black child, do you know where you're going, where you're really going? Do you know you can learn what you want to learn if you try to learn what you can learn? Hey, Black child, Do you know that you are strong? I mean, really strong. And do you know that you can do what you want to do if you try to do what you can do? Hey, Black child, be what you can be. Learn what you must learn. Do what you can do. And tomorrow, your nation will be what you want it to be.
Thank you, Ms. Sidbury. Today we have a recording of an original poem by A Dying Wish from Shanice Jackman, a student at Jordan High School.
A dying wish. What is dying? Dying is when you take your last breath and start to breathe different air. Dying is both unexplained and vulnerable. Dying is when you sing a great song and sing your final note. Dying is when that song doesn't play anymore. Dying is when the crowd is silent, the music fades away, and the lights get dimmer. Dying is everlasting, but death is short. What is death? Death is when you look into someone's eyes and you don't see the same light in their eyes anymore. Death is like holding on to dust, never staying in your hands, but always leaving something behind. Death is like pain, but the type of pain that never truly leaves. Death is like silent songbirds and greedy ghosts that eat away the flesh of life. Death is like a dying garden, its roots growing beneath the grave soil. The weeds only listen when the wind speaks, and the air only talks when the spirit leaves. Death is like snow falling from the ground. When it melts away, it shows what it's like to drown in sorrows. Pain is temporary. Pain is temporary, but the hurt you feel inside swirls inside of you. Pain is temporary, but why does it last for so long? Pain is like a swelling bruise that never goes away. It's like trying to mask a pain that haunts you even with wide eyes and bright smiles. When you look in a mirror, all you see is a sad skeleton, chipping away at life day by day. You hold your head up so high like you're so happy, but your neck has become a bookshelf of books people don't bother reading anymore. That weight of knowledge only weighs you down, but you never truly know what it's like to die.
And the next poem we're going to hear today, thank you, Shanice, even though you're not here with us for your poem. But the next poem we're going to hear today is a poem from a Southern School of Energy and Sustainability student. His name is Chigozie Odibo, and I have the honor and privilege of reading his work today. He couldn't join us. And his poem is called Saying Black History. The day history repeats itself. October 19th, oh, how could I forget? It was about 11 p.m. that night. A black teen driving through Harlem. The air was as thick as a heavy blanket. The day history repeated itself once again. The day history repeats itself. I got that one phone call, Mom's fussing me out. Where are you? It's not safe out there. Please come home. For some reason, it felt like a goodbye call. The day history repeats itself. I got pulled over by the men in blue. Put your hands on the wheel. I look around in confusion as to what I had done wrong. I obeyed the commands with my breath held. I'll end up dead if I try to fight. Get out the vehicle. I slowly obeyed with acknowledgement. How do I feel safe? when my face is a walking target. I just might get lucky this time. Then again, I spoke too soon. Yet again, history repeated itself. His knee is up against my throat. He says, I thought he had a weapon. I just wanted to send an I love you text because I know that I could be next. I just wanted my blood to run coursing through my veins, not onto the pavement once again. And I want to thank Chigoze for allowing me the honor of sharing his words with you. And we are going to hear from one last poet who is a Durham Public Schools graduate from he graduated from Lakeview Secondary School. His name is George Yamazawa. He goes by G Yamazawa. And G is an international hip hop recording artist and international champion slam poet as well. And so we are going to hear a poem by G today called Elementary.
I was so young, I don't even remember how old I was the first time I called someone gay. But it had to have been elementary school. See, one day, my dad was picking me up, and right before we pulled out of the parking lot, a girl waved at us with a smile like a vine. Even though she was the orchard that everyone picked on, she was still sweet and loved to be alive. When my dad asked me why I didn't wave back, I told him it was because she was gay. He looked at me with one of those religious stares, and every bit of Buddhism in his brow raised the question, what does that even mean? We all crack under peer pressure. But once you see that their earthquakes are coming from your faults, you realize how deep trembles are felt beneath the surface where things are left and forgotten. See, this was before poetry became my world. I noticed that words have gravity. I've seen them crush people from a first-person perspective. I felt a phrase fall out of my mouth like an atom bomb without knowing the effects will radiate for years. I've loved a language that hates people, cracking jokes trying to shatter their mirrors just because I wasn't confident in my own reflection. I hated myself for the shape of my eyes, so I became a bully because we all want to feel like America sometimes, and we all want straight spines. We all want straight spines to stand for something we believe in, but it's funny how flags and people have the same knack for politely waving at the ones they have forgotten. See, as early as elementary school, my parents planted a seed, and the lotus of Buddhism began to blossom in my brain. We had a pond in the backyard, and the flat water taught me of equality, that life is the one thing we all share. I was also taught how to pray. I've been memorizing mantras and chanting sutras out loud before the Pledge of Allegiance ever molested my lips. I was taught of cause and effect, how it is the ultimate truth that everything relies on, how a thought will turn to word as quickly as fuel becomes fire, whether it's for burning down a house or for keeping a lover warm. The spark of an idea will always match the fuming language we decide to pour out of our mouths, but I forgot that the voice does the work of the Buddha, so why would I ever call someone gay before calling them beautiful? Why would I not praise the person that drinks the same water as me? Why would I lift my voice just to put someone else down? You see, us humans, we have a habit of overpowering and taking what doesn't belong to us, but I pray that we are making our way towards the moment when our tongues are the only thing left for us to conquer. And if there's one thing that I've learned about being a poet, it's that it's not about what you have to say in your poem, it's about what you have to say when your poem is done.
I want to thank everyone that joined us today. Ms. Sidbury, thank you for reading for us. Ms. Newkirk-McCoy, thank you for sharing your students' poetry with us and allowing us to read them today. Ms. Perez, for sharing poetry in 3 different languages, just showing us that poetry is universal. And I would like to thank Ezekiel for sharing us live today and being vulnerable in that way and sharing your voice aloud, but also your voice in your lines of poetry. The 3 students who shared poetry with us today will receive copies of Amanda Gorman's The Hill We Climb, the book that contains her inaugural poem from the country, for the country. And that's just a show of gratitude for you being willing to share with us, because it's not always the easiest thing to do. Slide. I want to remind everyone that we have one last open mic to help us continue our celebration of Poetry Month. And so next Wednesday, April 28th, we'll be joined by Kane Smigo, who is also a Durham native, and he is an international hip hop artist and international champion slam poet as well. He is going to help host the program, and he's also going to share some featured pieces with us. So make sure you join us next week at 3:30 as well. You can find the information on social media and Twitter and Facebook through our Durham Public Schools account, as well as all the other folks that will be sharing that information. I want to encourage students one last time, students and educators, leaders, principals, share your voice with us. If you would like to share an original poem or a poem that's just a favorite of yours that holds some special meaning to you, then you can register. You can see the link right at the bottom of the screen. It's bit.ly DPS Poetry Month Open Mic, and we will take registrations to participate through next Monday. And once again, thank you for joining us.